Hello there, welcome to this video on questioning whether or not you do these things every day, and if you don't, encouraging you to do them. As always, likes, comments, subscriptions are welcome. Have a look at my books, blog and podcast. I'm going to dissect the video into three parts: mind, body, piano. That's according to the water pianism philosophy. I'm going to present one or two ideas for you to be doing. They don't take a lot of time, and the mind and body ones don't even take place at the piano, so you can do these anywhere. The purpose of water pianism, the reason I created it, is because I want you to be able to play the piano without any conscious interference. And that's what's going to make you a good performer. Not only that, but to become a spectator to your hands. This video is going to take that a bit further and explain how you can become a spectator to your mind. And that's the first exercise of the mind. The exercise is that if you count to 10 normally, that's very easy, 1, 2, in seconds. But this exercise is going to have you see the number 1 in your mind, and then observing that on your mind, on your mind's eye, and noticing also that around it now in your mind, you're going to get lots of the number 2, because the number 2 is going to try and push itself in. And your job is to say, no, you're not coming in yet. You're going to change to number 2 when I say. And this mental discipline is what is actually going to have a very positive effect on your playing the piano itself. Because that thing, let's avoid labels, which is trying to interfere with what you're focusing on, is also what is causing all of the problems in your piano life. Your frustrations, your disappointments, your impatience, your need for shortcuts and immediate answers, and all these things which are not beneficial at all to your progress. So by doing this once a day, at least once a day, counting to 10 on your terms is going to help you with that and calm your mind at and away from the piano. So the idea is that you see the number 1 as the observer to that number. And then you're going to also notice that there's that 2 trying to push in. And you're not going to say number 2, you're not going to see the number 2 until you're ready, until it feels natural. And that's really important. When you're improvising and playing, you have to play by feel. And this exercise encourages that. I'm trying to awaken you to the idea that you are in control, and all you need do is observe your hands playing and your mind doing what it wants to do. I call it the inspirational source. So when you say the number 2 may arrive, the number 2 will leave, number 1 will leave, and you'll just see number 2 in front of you. And the moment that happens, you're going to see number 3 wanting to push in and knock number 2 off the spot. And you're not going to let that happen. Now you can count all the way to 10. The higher the number, the more difficult it will be, the more challenging it will be. But you can apply this musically. So you, instead of counting to 10, you could go around all of the notes chromatically if you wanted to. You could go around the cycle of fourths. So let's just say, for example, if you don't yet know your major scales, which you should do, work on those immediately, chromatically name the notes in your mind and just say, right, C, I'm on C, I'm looking at C, I'm seeing C, I know C sharp is coming next, and my mind wants to pull me to that, but I'm not going to let it happen until I'm ready. And it's a semi-meditative thing to do, but you don't have to sit down in silence. You can do it when you're walking. It doesn't matter, when you're making a cup of tea. And it's that mental training which is going to be very beneficial for you in general. So that's the first mental exercise, which I recommend you do every day. The second thing is to mentally using your internal piano to take the opportunity once a day or twice a day to strengthen your internal piano. The internal piano is the 12-note block, as I call it, from C to B. And the mental exercise here is, of course, first of all, to actually get that shape in your mind. But on top of that is to have the ability in your mind, again, to zoom in and zoom out. So the technical exercise here is, when you're walking around, to train your mind to be able to just zoom into one part. It may just be 2 or 3 or 4 notes. So let's just zoom into, let's just say the C to the E flat, just this. But in your mind's eye, just like weightlifters in the gym, the more they do, the stronger their muscles get. It's exactly the same in the mind. The more you do it, the sharper it's going to get. The more control over it you're going to have, and the more benefits you are going to reap at and away from the piano. This is a really, really important video. Be able to zoom into that in your mind. Just zoom in, see the C, C sharp, D, and D sharp or E flat. Stay there for as long as you want, and then zoom out, and then zoom in somewhere else. Let's zoom into the G, the A flat, and the A. So you're only seeing these three notes. And this is a kind of mental flexing, as you would do in a gym. Personalize that. You might want to do it rhythmically. You may want to do it within a key. You may want to jump between notes of a major scale. You may want to play around with inversions. Personalize it. But the point is that you're training your mind to do what you want it to do when you want to do it, whilst observing this negative influence trying to stop you, block you, speed you up, make you cheat. You want to mock it almost and just say, no, you used to be like that. You used to control me, but now I'm in control, and I'm going to tell you when it's your turn to come in. So that zooming in and out is a very beneficial thing to do. It's a mental flexing. It might just take 3 minutes a day, nothing serious, and you can do it anywhere. So there's no excuse really. So there's two nice exercises for the mind. Onto the body, I'll just share a few of my technical exercises, which I do with my hands every day. I still do this. Again, you don't need the piano for this. On top of drinking lots of water and eating healthy, which is good anyway, try these exercises every day, just for a few minutes here and there, and remember the expression, aching is good, pain is bad. So the first thing I do is with the tendons, I will put my fingers like this. I mean, it's a bit of a mix and match, but generally it's like this, but it's at least once a day, every day, for many years. I put the fingertips together and the thumb, and I push back on the tips like this. I'm not hurting myself. It maybe looks a bit aggressive, but it really isn't. And I just push back on the tips. I'll put some links in the description box below, and you can read about the tendons. There's no muscles in the fingers, only tendons. And you can learn about the benefits of stretching tendons. Because as a pianist, many people talk about you need finger strength. You need, but you don't. Your fingers are already strong enough. They say strengthen your muscles. Your fingers are already strong enough. The tendons are already strong enough to press the piano keys. What you need is the finger independence, which is a mental and physical thing, and just generally have flexible fingers. And working on the tendons will really go a long way into helping you have a finger independence at the piano. So the first thing I'll do is this, hold it for maybe a second, and then I'll do it the other way, maybe twice or 3 times, nothing serious, including the thumb. I'm pushing it here too. But note that I'm not pushing back the finger, I'm pushing back the tendon. It's right at the tip, you want it to take the whole thing. That's a good thing to do. And do obviously seek medical advice if you have any existing conditions, but generally this is safe to do. The next thing I like to do is bending my fingers, but at the second, let's say this is the first knuckle line, and then this is the second knuckle line. So at the second knuckle line, this is nothing to do with the thumbs really, but you can if you want to, I suppose. But this is mainly the fingers. And I do this. I guess you can do the thumbs as well, depends if you want to or not. And I do this, but I'm doing it very firmly. I'm the finger, not aggressively, not with pain, and not unnecessarily hard, but just they're in a position like this. And then I'm doing this. And maybe I do 50, 60, 70, not rushing. And that's a very nice thing for the tendons and all the bits in the body. So that's a nice thing to do as well. If you can do that every day, at least twice, that would be good as well. Another one is to do the sort of palm slap, you might call it, where you're just doing like this, but quite quickly. So I do that as well. That's working other muscles and whatnot. And I also do the squeezing, of course, is to open as hard as you can. It doesn't hurt your hands, and then relax, and then squeeze them with the thumbs outside. There's some videos online, again, I've linked them below, of people demonstrating this, medical professionals. And then squeeze just for a second and then relax. And just do that 2 or 3 times. That's also going to help you in terms of your body. And of course, there are other things that you can do, which I've linked and described below a little bit. The third thing is the piano, of course. And the piano comes in two parts. You've got the theory side of things, and you have the actual playing of it. And maybe I'll come up with something else, but there's two things I did want to propose. Apart from knowing your major scales, which is paramount, one thing that people have been asking me about for a long time is to play what they call arpeggios. Rapid arpeggios is a common question. And I always say the same thing, so if you've heard me say this, then it won't be new to you. The point of this exercise is that you can only play arpeggios quickly if the first finger lands accurately. The rest of the fingers will subconsciously know where to place themselves. So let's just take a chord like C6. It could be any chord, of course. The fingers which are playing the chord, they know where to fall naturally, but they're only going to fall in the right place if the thumb, the leading finger, lands on the right note first. So your focus should be on octave precision, and that goes for primarily the thumb in the right hand for the going up, and the ring and little finger coming down, because it depends which is the top. If I play C7, for example, the ring finger is the top note, so it would be the ring finger which is the leading finger, you see. And sometimes it might be the little finger, like F, no, what did I say, F? C major 7, which is the little finger for me. The little finger is the leading finger. And on the left, of course, the thumb as well for the octave, and then the little finger or the ring finger, depending on what chord you're playing. So normally if I play black note chords, my ring finger plays it. So E flat minor 7, the leading finger is the ring finger. So that's the octave, and the little finger, I guess that would come out on the white notes primarily. So C major 7, it's the little finger that time. Discover what happens for you. Now the point is that you have to get that octave right. If you don't, you can't play the chord, which means you can't play the arpeggio quickly. So let's taking that C6 chord. How far can I go? I'll come down here with my right hand. Actually, I can do it here. The exercise is to just do this once. You're not doing the whole arpeggio, because if you can do this, it implies you can do the whole thing. And the exercise is this. Start slowly and speed up, and to only play the thumb octave as the last note. So you play the chord, and then you play the octave and stop. Until you can do it like this. There's no thought process involved in that. And because I've played the note correctly with the leading finger, thumb, the rest of the chord will come naturally. So on the way down, my ring finger is leading, and it's an A octave. So you might want to do the exercise. So do the exercise in both directions. Go down, in this case it will be the ring finger leading. Stop at the beginning, because the other fingers are going to come into play naturally. Just get used to that octave jump, because that's what it's about. Let's do one in the left hand. F whole diminished. So here the leading finger is the little finger, and it's going to jump here. It doesn't matter what the last note is. Here it's a whole minor third away from where I need to be. It's not always going to be a semitone away. So here I'm going to stop with my little finger. That's the precision. Because the notes are going to come naturally if I land on the correct note in the beginning. And then going down, it's the thumb precision on the D octave. So it's the D. I'm looking at the screen as well, it's putting me off. So that octave jump has to become so natural that you're not thinking about it. Then that's how you can then do these quick arpeggios without thinking about it, because your octave feel is so perfect, it's ingrained in you. So that's a really nice thing to do every day. Take a chord, even if you just do a simple triad, C major triad. It's the octave jump. It doesn't matter what the complicated chord is in the middle. And then going down, in this example, it would be the middle finger. So the middle finger was the leading one that time, but normally I'll play 4-note chords, of course, rarely just triads. So that's a nice one to do there. And I definitely had another one I wanted to share at the piano, which was, oh yes, to finger the major scales with, if I say abnormal, let me just say alternative fingering options. So instead of playing, let's take, I don't know, key of E, instead of playing E as you would for 1 octave, or even for 2, doesn't matter. Try different fingering. For example, only use the middle 3 fingers. So it's going to be a bit weird. So you might have to do it very slowly to find out what happens naturally, but it's nice because it breaks you away from that idea of fixed fingering and gives you a bit more freedom and flexibility with your fingers, a bit more control. You know, freedom is nice. So let's just, I've never done this particular one before, but let's see what happens. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So here I'm in a weird position because I need to hit the D sharp with my index finger, but it's okay. I'll just move my whole arm along and continue like this. E, F, E to the F sharp. So down here that would be, oh, so I played the wrong note there. So it reinforces the fact that you know the major scale, and that you don't just know them through muscle memory, which is kind of cheating. So you're separating yourself from that muscle memory cheating trick. That's quite a nice thing to do physically at the piano, which reinforces the major scales. But of course, with all of these, personalize, personalize, personalize. You're going to all be at different levels who are watching this video. So some of you are going to be able to do more advanced things, play with more complex chords. But the same logic still applies. So quick recap there. Try and do these every day at least once. Most of them you don't need a piano at all. Count to 10 or go round some musical pattern, cycle of fourths, and only change to the next one when you want to. But the point of that is to very much observe that your mind really wants you to rush. And it's very interesting and sort of enlightening in a way to be able to witness, perhaps even for the first time for you, that there is something in your mind that's trying to bring you down and block your progress and make things difficult for you. And doing this exercise is a good way to expose yourself to that negative part of the mind and start to overcome it and start to flex your mental muscle against it. So count to 10 slowly. Master your internal piano by zooming in and zooming out to different locations and naming the notes. And again, you may, depending on your level, you might do that with some more complicated scales instead of just major scales. You might use modes, blues scales, whatever. It's the idea of, in your mind, being able to and wanting to zoom in, zoom out, change key, zoom in, zoom out. That's a really powerful thing. On the body, the exercises I showed you, flexing the tendons, doing the palm slap thing, doing the second knuckle bending, which is quite nice, and then the last thing, of course, at the piano is the octave precision with the thumb, thumb, ring, and little finger on both hands. That will really help you. Just go 1 octave. Just get used to doing that with different chord types. Let's do a whole diminished. Doesn't matter. E flat, major 7, jumping from the E flat to the E flat. Doesn't matter. It's the octave precision that you need to master. What was the last thing I did? Oh yeah, different fingering for the major scales. That's very interesting. You can also combine hands and maybe just use 2 fingers from the left and 2 fingers from the right. And just go like, so let's just do C major. This kind of thing. It's actually quite difficult because you're playing a scale in a way that you've never done before. That will really challenge the connection between your finger independence and your mind. And I want you to be able to master these things so that your playing is much more fluent, you feel a lot more in control, you're more orientated, you have a calmer mind, and your progress is less impeded by negativity from your mind, which doesn't help you at all. I'll stop there and hope that you do apply these. And if you have any of your own, maybe share them in the comment section below. As always, likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my books, blog, and podcast, and I'll see you in the next video. All the best, and bye for now.